It's challenging to find an animal that looks as alien and cosmetic as the pangolin. This remarkable mammal has an elongated snout, an elongated rounded body with large beautiful scales, and a long tongue. It can also stand on its hind legs for a while, pulling its front legs close to the body to grasp its prey. Thanks to its tongue, the pangolin can feed on termites, ants, and other insects. Moreover, it excels defending itself against predators, relying on exceptional passive protection. When an enemy approaches, the pangolin curls up into a ball, transforming into a small, armored sphere. The sharp scales, which normally protrude upward and backward, close over each other like an impenetrable chainmail. A lioness didn't know what she was dealing with when she pounced on this little cutie. The pangolin instantly assumes a defensive position, becoming practically invulnerable. Even though the lioness is at least 10 times more massive, with the advantages of an experienced huntress, sharp retractable claws, and powerful jaws armed with fangs, the pangolin really couldn't care less. It calmly waits until the lioness gets tired of this game and just goes about her business. The predator's experience, combat skills, and strength are irrelevant. The pangolin's armor withstands blows and prolonged sieges, resisting persistent attempts by another, more experienced lioness to pry the prey out of its shell. Perhaps an especially large male lion could hope for success, but only after an entire hour of effort. Why would a predator exert so much energy on such a small animal? In the end, the pangolin successfully repels the carnivorous opponent. A close relative of the pangolin is the armadillo. Overall, these animals are somewhat similar, but while the pangolin's armor resembles chainmails with individual scales, the armadillo is covered with a continuous, incredibly tough armor that spans its head, back, and tail in separate segments. When the creature senses danger, it transforms into a ball. Moreover, it takes such a perfect spherical shape that it can even roll along the ground. The agility and speed with which the armadillo assumes a defensive position are astonishing. One has to use slow motion filming mode to examine the details. Note that although the creature seems sluggish and incapable of acrobatics during its signature move, it powerfully propels itself off the ground and curls into a ball in midair. Catching it off guard is nearly impossible. Nature researchers were shocked when they witnessed this amazing situation. A large predatory bird swooped down on the armadillo from above. The eagle employed its signature tactic of a powerful dive. The controlled descent acceleration significantly enhanced the already strong and long talons of the bird. But thanks to this attack, the eagle could, in one motion, break the spine, rip open the belly, or snap the neck of a large rodent that is more than twice as massive as the bird. But when the eagle wanted to test its tactic on the armadillo, it did not know what it was dealing with. The bird lunged at the armadillo, but even the powerful sharp talons couldn't penetrate the opponent's armor. It seems like the curled up little one emerged from the encounter without any injuries. Then something unexpected happened. On the ground, the eagle tried to breach the prey's defense, which hadn't retaliated at all. The aggressive bird interpreted this as a sign of weakness and wanted to finish off the prey not with speed, but with force. What an unpleasant surprise awaited the eagle when its talon slipped between the still curled legs of the armadillo and the creature snapped the trap shut. The bird found itself in a bind. Its talon was trapped between the limbs of the still-curled armadillo, which had literally turned into a ball around it. Unable to stand on the second leg, the eagle simply fell on its tail. It couldn't use its beak to break the defense, free one leg, or effectively use the second one. Taking off with such a load was also impossible. In the end, researchers approached the utterly helpless bird and spread its wings to roughly estimate the predator's size. The enraged eagle couldn't do anything about it. If instead of humans, a regular cat had approached the enraged opponents, it could have eaten the eagle while the armadillo still patiently held the enemy in its embrace. As you can see, an exclusively effective defensive tactic can be dangerous even without counterattacks. Armadillos and pangolins have another relative, which shares many bodily structure similarities with them. For instance, it has a similar head shape, but instead of developed jaws like the pangolin, this animal is armed with a long, flexible, and sticky tongue for hunting insects. Meet the anteater. Do agree that this animal also looks pretty unusual. However, unlike its distant relatives, the anteater doesn't focus on defense at all. On the contrary, when a predator is nearby, the anteater switches to aggressive attacking actions. Pretty surprising, isn't it? Even a jaguar didn't expect such boldness from a typical termitometer. However, when the anteater senses danger, it doesn't try to escape or wait at all. Instead, the creature stands on its hind legs, presses its elongated snout to its chest, and spreads its powerful front legs to the sides. When dealing with small ants, which in this position are knee-high to an adult human, this behavior may seem incredibly cute. But believe me, this is a much more dangerous animal than most predators think. With its curved claws fused into one huge sickle, the anteater digs the ground in search of insect larvae, making its front limbs resemble a bulldozer shovel. Thanks to constant training and digging hard soil, the anteater strikes possesses monstrous force. One successful hit can break the ribs or a leg of a large predator, knock it away, stun it, or even break its neck. Such frenzied and aggressive resistance is not what spotted panthers can expect. Moreover, the defensive posture of the animal should not be underestimated. Of course, it may seem to us that an offended anteater just wants some hugs. But in reality, the lowered head covers the throat, and the forward-facing front limbs are ready to deliver a signature slanting blow from top to bottom. Then the creature's claws act like a real scythe, tearing through the opponent's skin and exposing blood vessels. Although, unlike the pangolin and armadillo, the anteater's skin is covered with fur, this doesn't make our hero vulnerable. When hunting insects, it experiences hundreds or even thousands of their bites, so it has a high pain threshold, excellent resilience and endurance, as well as a tough skin. Moreover, the animal's dense fur is very stiff and can provide decent protection against claws due to its length. The anteater's defensive stance lacks mobility. It simply stands there in one place and rotates to prevent anyone from approaching from behind. However, this resilience allows it to focus all attention on the opponent and counterattack before a more massive carnivorous beast manages to bring the anteater to the ground. Additionally, the anteater can constantly change stances, drop to all fours, maneuver, distract the enemy with its huge tail. This nocturnal encounter between the panther and the enormous anteater unexpectedly became a severe test for the predator. Several times it was on the brink of death, narrowly avoiding the terrifying and sharp blows from the prey in the last moment. Underestimating the anteater is not advisable. Of course, if the predator is more than 3 times larger, the anteater won't withstand. But when it comes to giant specimens as long as young jaguars, even the largest hunters find themselves retreating from the fierce resistance of this strange and mighty creature. Which case where predators faced the unexpected opponent from today impressed you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you'll be the first to witness the most amazing confrontations between different animal species in the world of nature. The baby whale swam too close to the shore and ended up among more than a dozen surfers. Now the baby is scared and may accidentally throw himself onto dry land, but the mother was on her guard. She swam up to her cub and managed to push it away from the shallow water. Surprisingly, the alarmed female did not show any aggression towards people who were not sure who they were dealing with. But although an adult whale could sweep several people off the boards into the water with one blow of its tail, the female only poured water on them. At the same time, sometimes the maternal care of animals looks not only so much menacing as cute and touching. Here, the owner prepares food for the puppy. While the guy mixes the ingredients of the treats, he keeps the baby away from the bowl. The puppy persistently wanders to the food, but the guy is still busy. This scene is watched by the mother, who at some point decides, well, that's enough, and puts her paw on the guy's arm so that he finally lets her cub go to the food. No aggression, just a sweet and funny scene. But the guy did not expect that the mother would so tactfully stand up for her baby. This gray crow got involved with the wrong mother hen. When a dangerous bird flew into the coop, she hoped to scare the chicken and catch herself a chicken for lunch. But she was wrong. The chicken showed incredible determination instead of panic. Just look at how she deals with the shocked crow. She tries to fight back, but the chicken just tramples her. After the chicken immobilized the opponent and suppressed the resistance, she did not stop and began to peck right into the opponent's neck. It seems that she does not want to let the enemy go alive, so that he will return for a second attack when he recovers. This can be understood. For the sake of the offspring, the bird, and any mother, is ready for different actions. Sometimes you can't do without harsh measures, especially since crows are stubborn and smart. But this crow will no longer threaten anyone. After several blows to the throat, the chicken began to hit the enemy's skull and eyes exactly. Attempts to fight back seem desperate, and then the crow weakens, and its wings only twitch slightly under the blows of the chicken. These two guanacos didn't know who they were dealing with. Mountain lions usually rely on a quick attack and retreat if they cannot defeat the enemy for a long time. But here the situation is developing according to an unusual scenario. The cougar attacked two guanacos, who immediately scattered to the sides. The predatory cat managed to catch one of the enemies at the last moment, but did not overwhelm, but only hooked its claws on the hind legs of the victim. The guanaco showed impressive resistance and began kicking to throw off the predatory cat. Of course, the mountain lion is not afraid of hoofbeats, but the more the predator spends energy, the less benefit from hunting, even if successful. But the cougar does not retreat. She demonstrates incredible agility and right during the wild rodeo reaches her fangs into the neck of the prey from behind. She climbs, but the guanaco throws the predator off her back at the very last moment. Just a second before the predator's fangs close around her neck. A victory? Not at all. The cougar suddenly jumps up and attacks the guanaco again. The herbivore did not expect such tenacity, but the reason for such a dedication is simple. A kitten is watching the hunt. The guanaco is not only prepared for the role of lunch, all this hunting is kind of textbook. According to which a fluffy and cute baby learns to get food for himself right now. And the puma is ready to give 100% for him. She jumps back onto the back of the guanaco, after which she finally gets to the throat of the opponent. This zebra showed the hyena that it is better not to approach foals at all. The enraged female ran into the predator, knocked it down due to the advantage in mass and acceleration, and then began the chase. The hyena has no chance but to stand up to such fury. She runs away in a panic, and the zebra also bites the enemy on the run and grabs the base of the spine with its teeth. The hyena was lucky. An adult female could bite her spine. That's really who has a reputation for vulnerable and defenseless cuties, so it's rabbits. But when the crow attacked the cub, she did not understand that for the sake of saving the offspring, the baby's mother is able to awaken the spirit of a samurai within herself. Just look at how the female resolutely runs at the aggressor. You don't expect this from timid rodents. But it becomes clear that for her, protecting the baby is not just a reflex, but the main goal. She fights off the offspring of an enemy stunned by such a rebuff, after which she begins to chase the bird. When mom is far away, the only chance for a little rabbit to survive is to go unnoticed. Agreed. At first, you really didn't notice the baby among the foliage, especially behind the fence. But the snake is guided by smell, not just by sight. She explores the whole neighborhood with a sensitive tongue, realizes that lunch is nearby, and finds the rabbit. And when he finds him, he immediately rushes at him, bites into him, and begins to strangle him. Are you scared? Don't worry, Mom came to the rescue just in time. The snake certainly did not expect such fury. The rabbit was fighting a snake, and the first part of the battle is difficult to make out behind all these plants. But it is clearly visible how the tail and body of the snake flicker. The enraged female throws the snake from side to side, bites it with hard teeth, and beats it with clawed paws. And the reptile is completely powerless, and the rabbit ignores its bites. After receiving a terrible beating, the snake breaks free and crawls away to a higher bush. It remains to be hoped that both the mother and the baby will survive and be able to recover from such an attack. You know the expression, it's as easy as taking a toy away from a child? Well, this is clearly not a baby gorilla. This black ball of fur was clutching his favorite toy so sweetly and looked so helpless. It's so small that it's hard to even call it a game. A young teenage gorilla from the same enclosure decided that it could be used to take away her favorite thing. That's just the baby was being watched by the mother all this time. She was sitting motionless, probably admiring her offspring. And as soon as the teenager took one extra step towards the baby, the female immediately started up and went across like a living, mighty mountain. The teenager immediately retreated. He did not want to get into the face for some piece of rubber. It's reasonable. It's not worth contacting her cub. Mom is always there to help. Actually, male lions are very good dads, but this one is still very young. He is so actively interested in the den with newborn lion cubs that he may accidentally harm them. The female understands this and gives the male such a beating that the lion begins to realize who the real leader is in the pride. He fights back because he has an advantage in mass. But the lioness doesn't care. She clearly knows a lot about martial arts. Just look, she's throwing a lion over her head. The stunned male does a somersault, lands on his back, and retreats. And the lioness also beats him with a clawed paw in pursuit. It's funny that after receiving such a painful lesson, the lion behaves as if nothing had happened. But the cubs are provided with peace when such a brave mother is around. The porcupine is a very difficult opponent in itself, but still this beast is usually not particularly aggressive. He fights back desperately and harshly, but tries not to bring it to a fatal end and avoids a fight until he is finally exasperated. However, in this case of a threat to offspring, the porcupine's patience runs out much faster. You can say instantly. When a predator attacks a family of these animals, it makes the biggest mistake of its life. Porcupines don't even waste time trying to retreat. They immediately launch a counterattack. Their goal is not just to give battle to the enemy, but to pile on him so that the leopard can never threaten anyone ever again. Male and females act as a united front. While one of the parents covers the kids and protects them, as the last line of defense, the second one acts directly against the leopard. The porcupine is at least 3 times inferior to the enemy in mass, but the parents don't really care. At first, the leopard still thought that he was here, a cool and scary predator. But the porcupines quickly proved to him that today the spotted cat was destined for the role of victim. The leopard maneuvered, tried to get around the porcupines and catch their cub, and for a while the situation looked threatening. But in fact, the baby is safe. The enraged parents immediately stopped the predator's attempts to attack their offspring. Instead of just holing up to protect their needles, the porcupines went into battle. The leopard trapped itself when it got so close to two adults. This was a fatal mistake. The leopard, even with all its agility, did not have a chance to dodge. The needles tore through the predator's skin and sank deep into its flesh. But this is just the beginning. When the pain pierced the cat's body, he realized that he needed to retreat, but no one would let him go. The porcupines surround the leopard. Their needles are pointed backwards so as not to interfere with the beasts themselves, so they have to back away to attack. It doesn't look too dangerous, but only as long as the needles are not near the predator's eyes. Porcupines ram the enemy, bypass him, do not let go, and leave needles in his body again. The jagged tips of the sharp needles not only penetrate deep into the leopard's body, but also get stuck there. But the base of the needles is smooth, so they come out of the porcupine's body pretty easily. As a result, the leopard receives multiple deep penetrating wounds that threaten its internal organs. But the main thing is that the needles remained inside. The leopard itself cannot take them out, at least not when there are so many. The leopard's wounds will begin to rot, the inflammation will turn into blood poisoning. And even until this happens, the predator will not be able to hunt because the needles will prevent it from sneaking up and running, depriving it of sleep and disturbing it, and the predator is also threatened with starvation. But now the spotted cat does not know all of this. He stops trying to eat the little baby porcupines,